So there's really nothing that I have to say. So.
And so refreshing. There's so many people in the world that doesn't stop them,
Might not stop me either.
Well, I just wanted to check in with you briefly. Last week I was sharing with Kathy what happened when you, I don't remember the exact words you used, but I know that you pointed at me and said something like, somebody had told me there was something wrong with me, or that, and yeah, there was something wrong in that. Yeah. That's not true. I don't remember exactly what you said, but it went in really deeply. I didn't even hold on to the words, but I got. And I was surprised at the effect on me because, the whole self-esteem thing, I thought I had that all worked out and everything. And I think I wrote you back and said that it felt like whatever happened is taking care of itself, as opposed to something that I need to meditate on or figure out or something. Is that also your sense?
Yes.
Of it?
Yeah. It's not even a matter of anything having to be taken care of. Like you say, it's taking care of itself.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. And I would just add to that the feeling of rawness and vulnerability is precious. It's a jewel. And it doesn't need to be healed. It's the reaction to it that painting over that there's something wrong with us on top of it. That the vulnerability is an indication that there's something wrong. That by itself gets taken care of.
The idea that there's something wrong with the feeling of tenderness.
Exactly.
Or vulnerability.
Exactly. The idea that there's something wrong with the tenderness or the vulnerability.
Yeah, I mean, even when you first started speaking about it, it sort of opened it up again.
Yes.
Brought it up again. And when you said that it was something precious, I just never looked at it that way. That went in too.
Yeah.
So not that something in there needs to do anything.
Right.
It's just there.
Exactly. In fact, that's the more we allow ourselves to really experience what it's like to be human and what it's like to be free consciousness. Simultaneously, that feeling of rawness will come to the fore. And a lot of times what happens is all the episodes in our lives, I'm not saying every one like has to happen, but something like the feelings that we've had or the experiences that we've had that made us wrong for being raw, for being sensitive, for being essentially sensitive, for being feeling. They get replayed. It's like we got the message that there was something wrong with us, and because we were sensitive beings, it affected us. And then it was like, never again will I let myself feel this vulnerable. Unconsciously, some way to cope, because it's just too hard to let yourself be. It hurts, exactly. So I hope you don't mind, I'm going to close that window. So,
Nice having the blinds though.
yeah. So, you know, it's not easy being human and having our hearts open. And to some degree, this starts like, I mean, I don't even know where it starts. It probably starts in the womb. The openness of all the senses being open contracts or you know, numbs, because it's so we're so raw. The reason that awakening to consciousness has, like, the connection having to do with consciousness, your recognition of your nature that is our nature, that's fundamentally unmoved, untouched, that's free of everything that arises, that's everything is arising in it. And just an intuition of that, or a glimpse of that. And we recognize that we're more than anything that we experience. So then it's almost as though, you know, there can be that kind of desire, like, I'm going to hang out there, right? But if there's any degree of the desire to be embodied, to be here, then that's actually the door. The feeling of the rawness is the door. And now it's safe, because you know you're not simply your experience. So it's as if that is the next part, the sacred heart. It's the heart that feels. Otherwise, there's always a kind of a distinction between consciousness and phenomena. It's like a watching. You know, if you wake to consciousness, if you wake to that which is beyond everything, and you are not willing to feel, there's always a bit of a distinction. It's like, that over there is feeling. I'm not feeling. I'm simply aware of feeling. And that's true. The conscious nature is simply aware of feeling. It's simply aware of everything. But there's always a kind of dualism that's there. There's you as consciousness, and then what arises in you that you're not, which is a nice first stage. It clarifies what is unaffected, but it remains dualistic until you allow yourself to also be what arises in it. See, consciousness itself is really aware of feeling. It's not feeling. But us as human sentience is feeling. That's what we are. And love is what this wound is, what this essential sensitivity is. But it's the feeling of non-separateness, really. See, it's a natural unfolding. It's not like a therapeutic thing in the sense that you've got something you have to work on. And yet it can look like therapy, because basically things present themselves that need to be healed in order for energy and attention that was stuck there to be free. And that's a very, very natural outcome. You can. I mean, it's a natural unfolding. It's not something that you need to do consciously. It just continues to present itself. But it's not really about the past event so much. Whatever past events there are, like if somebody told you you were not who you should be, that needs to be felt and allowed. But it's actually to get to be that essential rawness. There's a blessedness in that. There's a blessedness in that.